Gemini rising. How you doing, Gemini? This is your reading for the Taurus full moon that's happening on the 15th or 16th of November. Depends what side of the world you're living in. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard, and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. Now this is going to be happening throughout the reading, and all of this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through in this reading. And this, as I said, this is a Taurus full moon reading. I work with 6-month cycles, so the energies that come through in this reading are going to serve you over the next 6 months for the Taurus area of your chart. Now I read for the rising signs, so for those of you who don't have Gemini in the first house, look to where Gemini does fall in your natal chart, look to the house that it's in and the themes of that house. You want to apply those themes as well as anything else you've got going on in the sign in Gemini, your sun, your moon, your Venus, your Mars, whatever it is. Apply all of that meaning to what's coming through, because it will be as if that Gemini energy has now energetically, wherever it falls in your natal chart, energetically moved to the first house. So the astrology for the rising sign will always still link in. You just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. So Gemini rising, where is this happening for you? This moon's quite crazy, guys, let's be real. It's conjunct Uranus, and it's also conjunct a fixed star called Algol, which is a bit of a difficult fixed star traditionally. It's linked into Medusa in terms of like losing one's head, right? Something dramatic quite happening. And this doesn't have to be literal, although I did talk about in the collective reading, and that's where I break down the astrology in way more detail of how everything's talking to each other, and that forms a harmonic blueprint that we're all collectively working with, right? It's the baseline for the all 12 size series. And I talked about how a certain political figure, when Uranus and Mars were conjunct Algol in Taurus not that long ago, had a little graze to the ear, and I talk about the astrology of that, including who propelled the thing. I'm trying to be really mindful that it's just one of those examples that I like to tell people who've got no idea about astrology, because it's so on the money, it's so literal, and so highlights how we are all, that this energy that we work with astrology is very compelling, and it sort of pulls us in different directions. And so when we know what energy we're working with, that's when we can add on a higher level of agency and co-creation. So if you want a deeper dive into this full moon in Taurus, and it's happening Gemini risings in your 12th house, right? It's next door, it's a difficult house. So this is a really significant full moon that you're having this year. The 12th house moons are always really powerful. So if you want a deeper understanding, a deeper dive into it all, go check out the collective reading and come back and watch this. I also did a collective tarot. I'll touch on the major themes, obviously, in these readings. But as I said, if you want a deeper understanding, go check it out. So that Uranus, moon, Algol energy, right? So for me, this is very much because the moon's in her exaltation in the sign of Taurus. So all the moon's qualities are elevated and raised on high. So a sense of nourishment, emotional flow, heightened intuition, our needs being met, all of that lovely stuff we often get with the moon in Taurus, but it's a bit different with Uranus being there, and Uranus has been there for quite some time. Right, before I really, okay, let me just finish that point first. There's so much I want to say. That what's the core message with this moon is we are going to release things in the head, i.e. perspectives, ideas, limiting beliefs, all of that stuff that have stopped us from feeling fully embodied in this incarnation, right? Taurus is the first earth sign. It's the physical senses of your body. It is how the sense of slowing down and feeling good within ourselves, right? Allowing that pause, allowing that rest and digest. And so things that have blocked that, right, blocked us feeling good and feeling abundant and feeling joyous in the 3D realm, right? So that's the off with the head energy, as in we're losing certain things in our head that have blocked that frequency to come through, because Uranus really wants you to walk your soul's path, wants you to be confident doing so, and very independent, and not pandering to the world around you, and can bring about sudden changes in order to help liberate you and get you back to your true frequency, right? So all of that combined, for me, the overall theme is a release of old paradigms and old ideas that are stuck in the head, that has blocked the energy flow in the whole of the body. So Gemini rising, this is happening in your 12th house, your hidden house, your house of mysteries, right? This is the unconscious spaces, and in those unconscious spaces happen to be a fair amount of trauma responses and limiting beliefs, right? It doesn't matter what your life has been, often so much because of the density in which we were born in. Even though we came from a frequency that had a higher consciousness, we can get stuck in the density. And those are the parts of the challenges that we work with over this period of real big collective consciousness shift, right? And so this is where the house where often anxiety, depression, loss, grief, isolation can show up. But underneath all of that good stuff is the magic of your soul, and that is the cosmic joke of the universe. Like, you've got to go through all of that stuff, you've got to peel back those layers and reconnect back with the magic of your soul. So this house can feel quite hidden and out of reach, as well as deeply personal. And so that's why I love a full moon. I love a full moon in the 12th. It helps peel back the layers of the labyrinth of all the wounds and all the certain preconceptions, limiting beliefs, all of that. And that can be not necessarily a trauma response, but, you know, somebody told you something when you were younger, and that's embedded in your unconscious spaces. And even though you've changed your mind consciously as a grown person, that's still a root energy. They're doing work around the heart chakra, and now around the throat. Taurus rules the throat. That is sort of embedded there. And so what's going on with the tarot? There's going to be 4 piles. The first pile is so often we always work with the shadow and the light. We go through difficulties as well as feeling more embodied and more integrated. You know, it's part of the process. The first pile is what's being closed out. What shadow work, what difficult situation, difficult ideology, thought process, embodiment that we've been working on that is being released. Is closing out, because full moons do represent an element of completion, right? And so we have this completion, but with that completion we then elevate, and that's when the download comes in that we then work with over the next 6 months to the Taurus new moon. So as I said at the beginning, all of this is still even if you're watching it after the event, still very much a part of the next 6 month cycle. So pile 1 is going to be what's released, right? What blockage, what struggle, what difficulty is being released with this full moon. Pile 2 is the flip side of the coin of what's being integrated that's really elevating to your soul's journey. That over the last 6 months since the Taurus new moon, you have been working and striving towards. Pile 3 is the activation, is the download. And that's going to be the energy that you work with over the next 6 months. As I said, if you want like a deeper understanding of what that pile 3 is, go check out the collective reading, because that will, as I say, act as a baseline for pile 3. And then the more you're aware of like what's the highest intention of this lunation, the more you can apply that to difficult situations, good situations, challenges, or when you're feeling a bit confused, you can always root back to the intention of the activation. Pile 4 are going to be 2 cards to sort of represent, okay, what to focus on over the next 6 months in this area of your chart, how to activate and elevate pile 3. and really work with it rather than fight against it. So those are the 4 piles. I'll also be pulling some oracle cards from 2 of my favorite decks at the moment, as well as potentially pulling a couple of cards on just the Uranus energy, because it's kind of a big deal that this is happening, and also on the fact that Saturn on the day of the moon is going to go direct, right? It'll be direct by the time the moon is at its fullest, at its peak. And so this is a big significant energy for all of us, right? Saturn transits can be a bit hard and heavy. And the retrograde meant a little bit of summertime sadness for us all, because we're really dissolving so much of the heavier energy, right? The grief, the separation energy, the frustrations of lack of connection or empathy, all of those Piscean energies that Saturn was helping us recalibrate and work through and bring back our own authority and our sense of commitment to our longer term legacy when it comes to Pisces, which Gemini rising, that's your career house. So it's going to go forward. So you may have had some struggles, some setbacks, some resistance over the last couple of months while Saturn was direct. And now it's going to be moving forward. So we're all kind of feeling the bigger energy in the lead up to this full moon when Saturn stations. It's a drawn out energy. So it's going direct. So I will, if I feel called to, if there's time, I'll pull cards for both of those energies specifically. I've had a slight peek. I don't always get to have a peek because sometimes the cards fall face down, but I've had a little peek and I'm looking forward to reading these cards for you, Gemini. So as I said, big full moon with Uranus, with Algol. Now what this could be is feeling a lot of anxiety, feeling quite depressed, right? Feeling quite a big heaviness where you're losing your head, right? You might feel like you're losing your mind, and just trust in that process. And if you have an awareness of it, of like, if that's happening, if that's getting really big, one, it's source letting you know if there's a particular thing that comes up that you need to focus on that over the next 6 months, as well as it all coming to the surface in order for it to be dissolved. Get in, Gemini. So I'm very excited because I saw that other card. So the reason why it's being dissolved is because all these 3 energies are making a sextile to Neptune. Neptune's making a sextile to Pluto and Ceres over in Capricorn. I know this is a lot of information. And Pluto and Ceres are making a sextile to the Sun. This is a cradle, which I forgot to mention in the collective reading. God damn, I'll bring it into the oracle reading. I wondered why in a couple of not all of the all 12 signs series so far, I've only done the fixed signs, is I genuinely felt a rebirth energy. So I'm kind of a bit annoyed at myself that I missed it out. So what does this mean? What does all of that mean? We have the 3 outer planets, amongst other things, all making harmonious aspects with the Sun and the moon. Now, if you want a deeper understanding about this Pluto, Neptune, Uranus energy, these are the 3 outer planets. They are more archetypal collective shifts. And what we're living through is quite phenomenal. So at the moment, they're all in yin signs. They're all in water and earth, right? The great rest energy, the observer energy, the cultivating the nuance, the depth, the pause, to let it all digest and really have a strong foundation, a grounded foundation. And I talk about all of this in a greater detail in the Pluto in Capricorn Oracle reading. All the planets have their own playlist, so it's really easy to find. That I'll sum it up, but they're all going to then move into yang signs together. It's wild. It's so wild. And then that's when we take the action with all of these shifts and changes, because this is in alignment with the timeline shift, right? The paradigm shift, where we are entering into a space where our consciousness is more raised. Our capacity to engage with source is getting stronger and stronger and stronger and more elevated in every little thing in our lives. And because of this shift, right, we are now recalibrating to the sort of level up of all the tools that we can use. Itala dishani mo itele matiala ela dishani moto etinia tu fala dishani moto etalima. They like that. So, and this is being embedded into this moon, this very yin energy of letting it all get embodied, let it all get into our energy before it then all moves into yang signs where we're go. Anyway, the rooted power, that's Pluto, is being transformed and magnetizing towards it within all of us. The deeper understanding that we do live in a magical reality, right? We can think it, but we may not have experienced it very much and not necessarily being able to embody it. This full moon is helping us embody it. And Neptune in retrograde is helping pull back the veil of that we do not live in a magical reality. And it's also helping dissolve any blockages from us connecting to the multifaceted energy of source. And that's all working with Uranus, who wants you to walk your soul's path. So we're all getting an alignment with this. And that energy is embedded into this moon. And we have Ceres, the asteroid, which represents the harvest, the great grain mother, the earth mother. This is about abundance. This is about nutrients and nurturing, and the sense of the harvest, the bounty coming in. And so she's coming into conjunction with Pluto, and they are both linked into resources and digging up of resources and all of that. And so you may have noticed in the lead up to this moon, a lot of fears, a lot of worries, a lot of anxiety, a lot of discombobulation, a lot of fear around safety, security. Do you have the nourishment you need? Are you going to have the harvest? Is there going to be abundance? All that kind of stuff. But that's because, when a planet comes towards Pluto, often the fears of that energy gets really, really loud. So Ceres and Pluto combined together, they are trining the moon. So this is a harmonious aspect of embodied wisdom. Okay, that's too many. You're going there with you. And a trine is ruled by Jupiter, and this is about wisdom, elevation, opportunities, a sense of flow and abundance. So this is really helping release a lot of wounds in the unconscious realms, right? Things that have blocked you from creating in the 3D world in a really full embodied way. Capricorn is over. Okay, Neptune's in your 10th house of your life purpose, your career, as is Saturn. Your visibility, your reputation, bosses, career doesn't have to be life path. It can help facilitate it, right? It can, your life path could be something that's very specific to you. That is, we're dissolving unconscious responses and limiting beliefs around career, around life purpose, around visibility and reputation. Pluto is in your 8th house of the outside world's resources. This can be mortgages, loans, taxes, debt, bonuses, commissions. It's more one-off chunks of money, as well as dealing with the resources of the outside world. It's also about relationship dynamics, because it's the exchange between anything other than you and yourself, right? Time, money, energy, intimacy, ideas. We can have codependency and scarcity complexes here, right? It's a very magical house. It's your relationship with Source. It's the resources of Source. And that's that Capricorn energy with Pluto, Ceres, and Venus, who rules this moon. So there's an element around relationship dynamics, scarcity complexes, difficulties with career, with visibility. That is all, I can see a lot of those themes being let go of. With this full moon, as well as a heightened sense of knowing where you're going, not necessarily knowing the details of it. You're working with Source and understanding that the world around you, that relationships, there is abundance, there's co-creation. There is this sense of getting downloads from Source into your unconscious realm that is helping clear the clutter, right, of distorted relationship dynamics, career, all of that kind of stuff. and allowing your senses, your physical senses, which is the magic of your soul, that Taurian energy, to not respond through trauma, right? So your body is going to be able to tell you the truth of the reality. Now, when I finished the collective reading, the energies that I channeled, they were like, yep, you got everything but this. I mean, I touched on it slightly, but I wasn't really loud with this message. It's a message that's come through in the Libra new moon which was an eclipse, and the Aries full moon. The message came through with those two transits. So what they want me to say is that for some of us, it could be for everybody, but take what resonates, as always. We're going to have activations of channeling. We're going to have activations of our intuition, of things that conventional people will maybe deem magic or part of the dark arts. I mean, we understand why all of that's around and why that is, and it can make it really difficult to interact with other people if you have been activated. I certainly went through that whole process. The movement started first, and that's really weird. And I had been masking my whole life, and I'd got to a point where I'd been pulling back the masks, and I got to a really healthy point, and then that happened, and I was like, I can't go back to masking. I can't go back to hiding what on earth is going on. And so I was really, really upfront with everybody. Even I've got a grandmother who is very shy. She's a shy Christian. I think deep down she does think I'm working with the devil. I mean, but the devil's just a distorted idea of our capacity to create in the 3D realm. I just heard, thank you, sister, for honouring the truth. Lol. That I've also encountered a lot of people who've been activated, and they are uncomfortable a lot of the times with certain friendship groups, certain family members, of not wanting to communicate it. And I totally understand that and respect that. Everyone's walking their own path, but it is an element of masking. It is an element of not being authentic. But that takes time, that takes practice to be able to just be really okay with the consequences of what may happen. And some people, they may face really difficult, obviously always do what's safe for you in every single way. Obviously, that's always a prerequisite. But they were saying that more and more people are going to be activated. The activations are going to be stronger. And it's going to lead to certain situations where you may feel compelled to bring more of this to the table in more conventional circles. And they wanted you all to know that you're going to have a lot of support and power behind you. With you. So as I said, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And the reason why it was linked into the Libra Aries energy is that is all about being your authentic, independent self while still socializing and still being able to connect and bring the truth to the table of your equilibrium. So let's crack on. So I was talking about Venus. Venus rules this moon. She is the ruler of Taurus, and she is over in the sign of Capricorn along with Pluto and Ceres. So you may just find more flow, more ease in those relationship dynamics, right? In the going about and out and about in the world, getting the resources that you need, finding more, you might have some feminine energy come in that give you a bonus or commission, or there's like a project being started. When I say feminine energy, it's not sex specific. Or just feeling more in your ease when you go out and about in the world, connecting the dots and feeling more love and appreciation with your relationship with Source as well. So she's influencing this moon of helping you see that 8th house, which can be a bit of a difficult house, in a more flow state, in a more loving, connecting, open, curious, creative space. And she's square the notes by degree in Aries and Libra. And squares can bring about conflict, drama, frustration, winning at all costs. And if any of these things come up in your Aries Libra axis in regards to relationship dynamics, so Libra for you is creation energy, joy, pleasure, romance, dating, children, literal and figurative children. Aries, hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, reaping the benefits from your 10th house. I can see if there might be some relationship dynamics that show up that are a bit conflict orientated. Venus might be letting you know this might not be the relationship for you, or this is something that we need to work on. Why is this conflict coming up? What is it that's not healed within either of us that's engaging in that dynamic? No, that's too many. We just want one more and then one at the bottom of the deck. Squares are also about building. So you're building from a place of it's Venus's hour, just as I'm speaking of you, babe. And there's a real level of commitment of Venus in Capricorn. I love Venus in Capricorn. She's like, work hard, play hard, right? And this real sense of longevity in the actions and the desires that you're leaning towards, and maturity, because it's ruled by Saturn. And so with this building energy, with your hopes and your dreams, with groups, right? More creative outlets all working together in order to facilitate a deeper understanding of the abundance in the world. Obviously, right? That's at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to shuffle a couple of cards for Uranus and Saturn, because you're my last reading for the day, Gemini. So I'm going to go full throttle. So Venus in the 8th, and all of this energy is being pulled into the moon, right? So you can see a lot of heightened connection with source that's activating a deeper connection to your creation energy and how you dream and how you hope, that is then soothing, like, and acting as a soothing balm to your unconscious spaces, that it's allowing the I'm just getting this undulating river of your energy coming from Taurus, from the root of your soul coming through. I know it's Earth, but that was the vibe that I was getting, of this really beautiful flow of the magic of your soul coming out to facilitate your 3D experience, like pulling back the limiting beliefs around scarcity, codependency, all of that kind of thing. Now Venus is being ruled by Saturn. So Saturn rules Capricorn, and so is influencing what's going on with Venus. And we've already talked about Pisces, your career, your life path, your visibility. And so there's a real sense of maturity coming in. Ooh, I hope you didn't see that. A real sense of maturity coming in around desire, around connection, around value, around creativity and harmony, and what you're drawn to in relationships, right? Because Saturn is saying to Venus, right, let's make sure these dynamics, these resources are in alignment with your life path, in alignment with where you're headed, and not distorting your visibility or your sense of value. Now Saturn is in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And where's Jupiter? Well, Jupiter's in your sign, Gemini. You know, this happens once every 12 years. If you haven't caught the Jupiter and Gemini transit series, we've still got a little while to go with Jupiter being in your sign. I do recommend it, just because it's in the first house. It's in your sign. This is the house of self, of like, just, you know, elevating a level of embodied wisdom in your actions and your deeds. Currently retrograde, so there's an element of questioning how you do things, questioning how you're perceived, and that's all really healthy, and it helps you get really back to the root of who are you and what are you. More jovial generosity of spirit in the way that you move through the world. It's a lovely transit. You can get a little larger with a Jupiter in the first house. That's not for everyone, but it's the biggest gas giant, right? Which sometimes you have to take it genuinely very, very literally. So Jupiter is influencing what's going on with Saturn, and therefore influencing what's going on with Venus. So there's this sense of self, right? And how you walk your talk, and the wisdom you're finding in that, the elevation you're finding in that, in this Jupiter transit. And this is all feeding into Saturn. And this, I can see, is a cycle around really being seen for what you bring to the table. Because that's in alignment with the 12th house of like that anxiety, that worry about all of the things, right? And so Jupiter in the first, influencing Saturn, right? Saturn's also about authority and being seen in a very mature way as a point of authority. But it's coming from the Jupiter energy of self, of like the actions that you're taking are going to be seen in a really mature, beautiful way and with respect. Now, Gemini, who rules you? Well, that's Mercury, and Mercury is over in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we have what's called mutual reception between Jupiter and Mercury. And these two, so they're in each other's realms. They're on psychic hotline with each other, so they know where all the resources are. They know how to move through the world. It's like they're now in their own realm. It's really supportive when you've got mutual reception. So these two are ruling all the other things that I just talked about. Apart from Aries, we'll get to that. All of those things, it's not real, they're not ruling the whole chart. And it was so interesting in the collective reading that mostly swords, and that really ties into this idea of perspective and a shift of perspective, and that's doubled down by the Gemini energy and also the Mercurial energy, Jupiter of the wisdom, Mercury of the details, of the information, of the sharing of information, over in the 7th house of the other, right? This can be intimate friends, romantic, long-term romantic partners, business partner, one-on-one clients, your therapist, and source, right? I love the 7th house. I find it's a lot more complicated than most give it credit for. Because it's often how you understand yourself in regards to the other. It's often how you show up for the other, as well as how the other shows up for you, as well as if you don't necessarily have like big significant things going on with the other in your life, it can often be when we have transits in the 7th of you being in alignment with source, like getting a lot of downloads with Mercury there. You just might find yourself being more confident, being more drawn to have more deeper, intimate conversations, you figuring out why you communicate in certain ways with the other. This could be the other communicating with you in certain ways, that because it could act as a mirror of how you understand yourself. So this is where the elevated perspective comes in around the self and the other, right? And this all ties back in to any distortions with relationship dynamics, whether that's relationship with the outside world, relationship with bosses, relationship with your career, right? That, you know, that self and the other can be very figurative in its nature. And where there may be distortions of codependency, giving too much, taking too much, prioritizing the needs of the other over your own, or vice versa. And what we really want is a healthy balance where we don't lose ourselves, where we still can be sovereign when walking the path with others. And so this is governing that 12th house of like, this has got to be right. It's elevating healthier relationships. Now, Mars rules Scorpio, so is ruling the sun. And often we want to look to where the sun is in order to sort of, we get the vision, we get a bit of clarity about the journey that we've been on or what's being activated, where the sun is. And it's over in your 6th house of work, Scorpio, right? How you work, physical health, routines, co-workers, and therefore collaboration, pets, and therefore acts of service, like sense of dependency. And so the sun is there. You've had a real focal point on how do you work? How does work for you? Your health as well. You may have been in like brainstorming with co-workers, and just generally having a real. I love Scorpio energy, but it gets quite intense of like bringing up a lot. Bringing up a lot of difficult energy that's in the darkness, right, that we need to look at. And that's why the Scorpio season is so powerful, because it's so transformative of really working and analysing re-understanding, having a sort of divine inspiration around the next stages of the way that you figure things out, the way that you work. It's the adult in the room, the sixth house, and so often we can fail to be that for various reasons of our early years, where we don't want to step up, we don't want to put the work in, because we may have, sorry if that knocked a bit, because we may have faced various levels of neglect or whatever it is that is a certain thing that's then causing, not wanting to step up to the plate, basically. And so the sun is really highlighting the work that you've done to elevate and integrate that sixth house. It can, so often physical ailments come from the anxiety, come from the worry as well. So if you're suffering from certain things, you might get a lot of downloads around this full moon to help integrate that. And what I always see with a full moon in the 12th is a real sense of an embodiment of the magic of your soul in the way that you work, right? Of really leaning into trust. Okay, you got 2 from Rainbow Brainskull, which I used in the Scorpio reading. But it's ruled by Mars, and Mars is over in Leo, which is ruled by the Sun. So we have another set of mutual reception. And Leo for you is in your 3rd house of your day-to-day, your environmental frequency, your local community, learning things for the first time, the lens in which you communicate through. It can also be about short distance trips. But for me, it's very significant house, because the more we find meaning in doing the washing up, the more that we are resonant with, the joy of existence in all the little things. And that really elevates then the bigger things as well. And Mars being there, love Mars in the 3rd, getting a lot of stuff done, right? Really noticing, I notice with Mars in the 3rd, you get very direct downloads that you see through your actions and your deeds, because it's communication, and it's also receiving communication from source and all of that you'll just see that heightened. Also, this can be about putting things into practice that you've been learning on a day-to-day basis, finding more drive and more action and more motivation in your day-to-day, and being able to, as I say, get the things done, a deepening on the meaning and all of that jazz. So again, mutual reception between work, how you figure things out, and Mars being able to put it into practice immediately, regularly, and really hone the skills of what's being elevated with this full moon in terms of healthy mind, healthy body. Now, let's get into the tarot. So this is what's being released, right? The shadow work, the challenges of the last 6 months. It was the 4 of Wands in reverse and the Death card. Hello, Scorpio. First time this has come out in the All 12 Sign series. So the 4 of Wands in reverse is not seeing anything of worth to celebrate, not celebrating the work that you've done, just finding it very difficult to feel proud of yourself. And it, with the Death card as well, especially with the 12th house of like the worry, the fear of this never being in the upright. They're working together, they're celebrating, they've brought the harvest in, and they know they've done a good job. They have trust and faith in themselves, and they're throwing a massive party. So this in reverse is a block around that, a block around seeing the work, the hard work that you've done, of finding the joy, the resonance, and the ability to celebrate, right? And this is being let go. This is we all kind of suffer from that. We all suffer from thinking we need to constantly overachieve, and because we have that mindset and comparing ourselves to others, we then miss the fact that what we're doing is amazing. All of us just existing is absolutely amazing. We've got the Death card, so it's really doubling down on this is what's being let go, something that's had an authority over you that doesn't serve you anymore, right? You don't need to be there. You don't need to be in that space. A lot of lack of worth can show up with, the moon rules your 2nd house of how you value yourself. So wherever the moon is doing, it's always going to have an impact on your value. And I can see that's very shifting and changing. And what I like about this energy is it's come with a Scorpio card, which is fixed. It's like, no, this change is being fixed. This release is being fixed, where you're not diminishing the work that you do. You're not diminishing your existence. You're not diminishing your capacity to celebrate and be proud of that. Because so often we can celebrate, we can have our fun and then feel a lot of shame afterwards of like, oh, I should have been working. I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. I should have been doing that. I'm liking this energy come through. Right. What is being integrated? We have the King of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. So we've got Earth and Water, which is what this full moon's all about. Actually, the page came first. So Page of Pentacles. So this is what's being integrated into your vessel. It's a fresh new way of looking at your unconscious realm, right? The page is really excited, right? It's like, I want to go and explore. I want to understand. And so it's a very youthful energy. And I love that showing up in the 12th, which can feel a bit difficult, right? And can feel a bit heavy. And so you've got this really light page. And this page of all the pages is very studious, right? It wants to do the damn thing, but they're still youthful and light and bright. And so this is a new way of communicating with your unconscious, the magic of your soul coming out. Oh, my head is now throbbing. And with the King of Cups, love the King of Cups. This is about being in emotional control. This king knows it's in the eye of the storm, right? It's really calm around, but look at those waves. Those waves are not of a calm day. The storm is raging all around. Ishali diala, but the king's not bothered, right? The king isn't letting that distort their energy. And so this is like proper sovereignty, and it's water. And so that's where Scorpio is, of the way that you work. So it's kind of saying this is bringing the energy into the way that you work, and how you're, because water is your workhouses, are feeling really confident in that, and feeling very mature and very in your flow around all of that. So loving this for you, Gemini. Right, okay, what's being activated? What is the download that's coming through? Hi, Capricorn. Hello, the devil. That's so funny that card came out when I did that bit about the devil. Lol. So we have the devil and we've got the Three of Pentacles. Love this. So the devil, as I said, I'm not getting the addiction, being chained, all of that stuff. This is like before Christianity changed the horned god into the devil, right? Because this is an older tradition than Christianity. It was used in a lot of earth traditions, horned energy, of masculine creative energy in the 3D world. Not sex specific, but it's that act of the yang, right? Which we all have. It's the power to create in the 3D realm. There's a real sense of this. Remember, this is Capricorn energy, of maturity, of control, of power and creation. And we've got it with the Three of Pentacles, which is all about mastery of self and collaboration to create something beautiful and long lasting. So this is tying in a level of power in your unconscious realm that is no longer letting things get distorted in the external realm. A sense of mastery of self in the unconscious realm, working together with your guides, your higher self, the magic of your soul, in order to create a beautiful vessel. But with the themes of Neptune, Saturn over in your 10th house of career, Pluto, Ceres and Venus over in the 8th of relationship dynamics and resources. There's a lot here around a lot of power of bringing in those healthier relationships and resources in order to create. My third eye is throbbing. So, how to work with this energy? We have, and this was the card that I laughed at, because this is Mercury's card, and you're ruled by Mercury, my loves. So, okay, they're wanting this to be in all the directions is what I'm feeling with this one, right? So this is the Nine of Swords with the Magician. This is a powerful combination. In the upright, this is about all of that anxiety, that worry. It's a perfect card. It often shows up in 12th house transits. And this is where we cannot even smell the roses. And that is what Taurus wants us to do, really, is just slow F down. So this is highlighting the reality of the 12th house that we can all fall in, right? That does not serve us, that gets us out of being present and has us in a state of regret and fear constantly. So it's wanting to be in the upright, it's wanting to be neither up nor right, and also in the reverse, which is showing a very transitory energy. But it's also highlighting this is what's being released, but it will help you to focus on the awareness of when it shows up. Because even though we get activation codes, we get downloads, it takes a little while to integrate. Honestly, I mean, that's how I've found it in my own practice and that of other people. There are some people out there who can click their fingers and all of a sudden gone. There are certain like breath work practices that can really help release a lot of stuff, but then I often find you still got to put in the groundwork. You still got to do in the daily practice. So this is saying, hey, focus on the fact that you are the magician. Focus on this, that you are able to utilize the resources around you and create magic with both the material and the metaphysical realms. Your power, Gemini, right? And when this shows up, step into this and use this energy to create from a space that isn't then putting it in a feedback loop. So in reverse, obviously it's not around. So you want to notice when you're not feeling that, what then creeps up to bring this into the upright. And it is saying you got to do the practice. You got to embody a certain set of practices, whatever works for you to help release that energy and work through it and shift rather than get stuck in that 9 of Swords, right? Let's bring this a little further down. Right, so bottom of the deck, we have Ace of Swords. It's shown up quite a lot for everybody. And so there's a real sense of divine inspiration. This is the renewal of our perspective in the 3D world. And often when we get that renewal, we then get the opposite of it, which is why the 9 of Swords has shown up. This is sovereignty, divine inspiration, right? All of that good stuff. Now, before I go into the oracle cards, let's look about... Oh yeah, I've forgotten about her. What cards you've got for the Uranus energy. Look at that. Hey, Venus. So we have the Empress and the 7 of Cups. Now, the 7 of Cups for me is my channeling card. So, and with a 12th house moon, wouldn't be surprised if there's some activations going on. But aside from that, this is all about the fantasy. This is about the dream. This is about the actual reality that we live in, of abundance, of creativity, of fertility, of choices beyond our wildest imaginations. Uranus is liberating you and bringing this in, right? So hold that in mind. Hold that in mind that it's activating a very powerful creation cycle for you. Now, Saturn. What is Saturn doing? You got 3 cards with Saturn. Oh, holy cow. You got 2 8s and the High Priestess. So beautiful. 8 of Pentacles, whistle while you work, right? Step up to your own experience. Pull up your socks and step up to the embodiment of this incarnation. This is all about the refinement towards mastery. This figure is doing the damn thing on a day-to-day basis, really elevating what they're doing. They're loving what they're doing. And this is, this is you, like, basically by being a trainer to yourself of like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And then the more that you practice that and the more that you do it, the more you get into a state of mastery of self with the 8 of Wands, 2 8s, alignment. This is actually Mercury in Sagittarius. So there's an alignment coming in. This could be around the other as well, i.e. source or business partner or clients come in. That there's a sense of release that's happening with Uranus that is activating a level of abundance, and that Saturn is bringing in a heightened level of knowing you are drawing towards you that which you need, right? This is the Moon's card, right? That this is not the 9 of Swords. This is about faith and trust and a deep knowing of that high level yin energy of it will just unfold as I need it to unfold. But it's interesting it's come with the Eight of Pentacles, because it is saying you've got to put this stuff into practice. So Saturn over in your 10th house of career, step up. Whenever I get the Eight of Pentacles myself, I'm like, oh, all right then. I feel like I get a big energy boost and a smile on my face when I'm working with this card. And then there's an alignment of your voice, right, and your instincts of how you communicate, how you understand and perceive, that is bringing in a heightened level of ease in your life, in the way that you're, perhaps anxiety about how you're seen in career, of like, what's the next stage? This is saying just do the thing on the daily basis. Just focus on the things that you love, on the refinement of the process. And the universe will bring along opportunities that are in alignment with the next stages. Like you're going to be very instinctively led around those things. And it's going to pull you into where you need to go. So, first oracle card, we have Skywriting the Fates. Now, this doesn't come out very often. Where are the books? Very rare. Can't remember the last time. It's so interesting when there are some cards in decks that are like, no, we're going to stay here, thanks. Right. So this is from the Shaman's Dream Oracle, and this is all the decks in the description box, by the way. The Fates, that which we cannot change, non-judgment. It is written in the sky that you have a destiny. Yeah, this is very already in alignment, like of having some trust and faith in it. And I think there's a lot of worry and anxiety that's building up in the physical vessel that would be really useful around the full moon to do some work with the body, to let it come through you and let it be released. You are being invited to explore certain aspects of life unique to you and you alone. That does not mean that your path will be easy, paved with gold and littered with diamonds, nor does this predict that your journey will be treacherous. It is just your path, with parts that cannot be changed and must be radically accepted as they are. In this way, whatever you are faced with, every single aspect of your life is perfect in its imperfection. Not good or bad, neither inflow nor blocked, this nor that. See your life as a series of opportunities rather than an obstacle course. Hello, those two cards. Once you master the skill of non-judgment, and this is pure judgment, even though it's usually at the self, it's still the same thing. And this is judgment of not being able to see where you can celebrate and feel good about it. Once you master the skill of non-judgment, you open to the power of curiosity, unencumbered by the burdens of yesterday's fears, as you look ahead into the potential of the future. Yes, you still need to be brave. Right now you are facing a critical moment in time with an opportunity to meet your fate. A choice point where you expand your influence and your capacity for abundance, love, and purposeful action. Abundance and love and purposeful action. Love it. Now is the moment to leap into it, whether it be a heart connection, a call to creativity, or a new identity in your work or another area of life. With all your heart and soul, your success is surely written in the stars. In order to bring your destiny to fruition, you must jump into the adventure with both feet and do your part. Oh, I think this is really relevant for me to read this. Okay, so this is at the bottom of the deck. This one makes me cry nearly every time. I think this is the underlying stuff. The disowned self, hidden beauty, the need for acceptance and love. Root girl sits shivering, unclean and naked at the base of the tree of the self. She is unloved, unwanted and shunned for her deformities. She has no home but is safe burrowing underground to dwell near the deepest roots of the sacred tree. Who is she to you? Could this urchin be one part of you that, reintegrated, can lead you to wholeness and true purpose? This is a part of you, the embodiment of the deeply flawed perception of your failures, manifesting as guilt and shame. That's that Four of Wands in reverse. When you project envy onto others, or any emotion or instinct that you've learned to repress or deem unnatural. It's this homeless child self crying for attention, acceptance and love. You want to lash out, ignore it, push it aside, all the while refusing to acknowledge this ugly quality is belonging to you. But if you would only look in the root girl's eyes and see the beauty and the unmet need, your unmet need, you would realize that this is part of you for your you would realize that this is part of you. Wait, why am I getting this so wrong? You would realize that this part of you asks for your compassion and understanding. This part of you was born when you were wounded and were conditioned to believe that you are not whole, that your expression of self is somehow too much or too little. You may have even inherited this creature from your ancestors. However, it was this child self came to be, curled up at the root of your sacred tree self. It's time to welcome her to your heart. When you do, everything you've been searching for becomes illuminated and your path lights up with renewed purpose. When you come to love Root Girl and claim her as your own, accepting her and your humanity, she is transformed, just as you are. Then all manner of magic begins to arrive in abundant form. Look for the beauty. Oof! Now that definitely summed up the blessings and the difficulties with the 12th house. That was pretty wild. Okay, so you got an extra oracle from the Rainbow Brainskull Oracle, extra card, and we'll do the bottom of the deck as well because these are quite short. Still not failing enough. Your behavior may be too rigid. Get wild and go make something explode for science. What I love about this is that judgment that came through. That this card is saying you gotta try, you gotta learn. It's not that you're not trying, it's that fear of being wrong, fear of making a mistake, right, of not being perfect. You've got Virgo in the 4th house, right? That's your foundational energy, and it can lead, I say this as a Virgo sun, it can lead to hyper judgment and hyper criticism, and teaching the Virgo energy to let loose is a bit of a struggle bus. Try and have fun, play, try different things out, and give yourself some grace. Give this root girl some grace. Did you forget that you're still inside the game? You really think that this incarnation is the beginning and end of everything? What absolute hubris. Reality is much bigger than this 3D single planet adventure game. Have fun and remember to explore this realm before it's game over. Now what is at the bottom of the deck? You're not supposed to always be happy. Let happy sleep. Oh, this is cute. I like this for like making peace with the unconscious realms, the difficult energy, right? We should never hide from it. That's that King of Cups. Like every emotion has its place. It's more when we get stuck in it, right? And we become the 9 of Swords. The battery will always recharge if you leave it plugged in long enough. You know how to replenish your phone's battery. Treat your emotions the same way. Give it time. Again, another card saying being kind and loving to yourself, my lovely Geminis. Love this energy, big transformation going on here into your sense of power and creativity, and learn to have a little faith and trust in the unfolding. I know that's a little hard with the very restlessness of the Gemini energy, but you know, it's that Taurus. You got to remember, Taurus is actually the magic of your soul. Right? It's such a cosmic joke that we have that hidden behind us. Right, Gemini. Thank you for being here. As always, it's such a pleasure to read for you. I hope this resonated. If it did, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want a personal reading, my details are everywhere. But other than that, Gemini, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, and safe travels until we meet again.